Hello, welcome to the Squirrel Tale. Today I'm going to take a close-up look at the horn that I made for the 2024 Kempton Gunmakers Fair and entered it. Also the critique sheet. Now there were some things that I was happy with my entry. It did not receive a judge's choice or any awards, but I can see my improvement and I am improving my skill. And that's ultimately what that is about. You know, the whole judging thing. If you want to see the ceremony, they discuss it. If you are into making horns, guns, knives, any 18th century art, I would strongly suggest entering them at the Kempton Gunmakers Fair because the information you get is very valuable. Here's the horn itself. It has fairly traditional spout design, a turned walnut plug. It has a Bible verse engraved on the side. The other side, it just has my name on it. So yeah, and then I just added that rope to hang it up for a previous video actually, but so a simple small horn. It's about probably 9 inches long. So let's see. And then I do want to give a shout out to Clint Byers for doing this critique. I really appreciate all his advice he's given me through the years, along with all the other judges and people I've talked to through the years have made me a better craftsman. So, you know, he said for material selection, I got a very good, pretty little horn for this project. Plenty of material to work with, but not too heavy. Walnut was a good choice for a turn base plug. One of the things he told me to do, and I want you guys to learn from this, he encouraged me to use something, instead of using a walnut plug, a softer wood for a spout plug. I think I'm actually going to dry out some cedar because that color I think would go well with a walnut plug, but it would be softer, so that's something I will probably replace that one for this horn and do in the future. Traditional design with traditional design with classic line. Spout to body ratio is very close to the golden mean. Well done. So what that's referring to is how big this is and how big this is. I at some point want to do a video on the golden mean, but I have to do some research. But if you put your spout really small, it won't look right. If you put it too big, it won't look right. So finding that area where it looks right, that's, if you make that the golden mean, it looks proper. You know, if I would have taken this up to where my finger is, they probably would have criticized it. If I would have stopped it right there, they probably would have criticized it. So I got very good for that. So a nice fit between the base and horn body. The spout plug does not make contact all the way around. A softer wood for the plug would fix this. So yeah, I wasn't happy how this didn't fit in perfect. So a softer wood for my spout plug would make a better seal, making a better functioning horn. Again, I'll probably replace this one with either a cedar or stained poplar or something like that. Yeah, that's overall one of the criticisms. But yeah, so finish, I got an excellent, very traditional. If you're wondering, the neck is dyed with brown RIT dye, and then the body is an aqua fortis. I use that to stain it. For function, horn is airtight, with the exception of the spout plug as mentioned above. This is a cute little horn that would go, and then for aesthetic appeal is a cute little horn that would pair well with a small bag and a 36 or less caliber rifle. So yeah, this kind of was intended to go in my Bucks County rifle. It has appeared in the channel a lot. That's a 36 caliber. So, I mean, that's good. Decoration. So, scrimshaw lettering is nicely done. Your execution might be improved by using layout lines to keep the text straight. I would also encourage you to study original lettering. Now, engraving is not my strong suit. It is something I'm working on. I've been working and I've been spending quite a bit of time working on it. And this is where I kind of want to show you my entry from 2 years ago and a year ago. So I can show my engraving. Make sure I get this on view. That was 2 years ago. So that was the first Kempton Gunmakers Fair, the 2022 show. That was also a Bible verse. This was a 2023 show. This was this past year. So, I always say I'm competing against myself when I'm entering these things. Can I make a better piece than last year? Can I refine my skills? And that's one thing that I kind of got, I was happy with. So this was from this was last year, so this horn with the ship. Suggestion for improvement was the decoration. I'm still not a master engraver by any means, but I've now got that where it's at least good, where it's at least getting to the acceptable. And if you've paid attention to the channel, I made myself that little engraving box. I filmed the video with John, and that day working with him, my skill improved massively. And ultimately, just spending evenings, I've been trying to get in there, engrave, practice. You know, which that's quite literally what my critique sheet from last year says. Practice. And I did that. I probably didn't do enough. Life gets busy. But there's a fair bit of improvement from last year to this year, and from 2 years ago to today. So that's something I still have a lot of work to do, but I am happy in how I'm progressing. And if I keep practicing, maybe next year I can actually get that up to very good or excellent. So spout, carving is well done, flow well from body to horns through the tip. Personally, I like to see a little more height on the collar bands. Finish on the spout is excellent. Okay, so what he was referring to is, probably be easier if well, this kind of makes a point. I can just slide that string out, and that was on there tight. So he would like to see these higher, because a rope or your strap could easily come off this, and that's not from a functional standpoint, that's a bad thing, because now you're going through the woods, suddenly your horn hits the ground, maybe cracks on a rock and burns all your powder out, or you don't realize it fell down, and now you're tramping back through the woods looking for a horn. So, you know, that is something that I need to keep in mind. Those shoulders need to be a little bit higher. And again, if you're doing some work, that's something to keep in mind. I'm hoping you guys can kind of learn from the things that I did wrong. And then the base plug is well turned and very fitting to the horn, but it's not centered to the horn body, making sure the base of the horn is before fitting it will fix this problem. So I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, but if you were to measure, and I spin this around. That right there, probably if I measured that, I would say would be about 160 thousandths as a machinist. That's what I would guess. And right there is probably closer to 200 thousandths. So there's probably about a 30 to 60 thousandths difference in the distance from the plug here to the plug here. This was a thing that I was fighting as I was making the horn. I've not done many turn plugs, although being a lathe operator for a living, you'd think I would figure this out. And I actually took this from a metal lathe to a wood lathe because the metal lathe had a chuck. Something that is I'm in a weird situation with my lathe because I have a metal lathe with a chuck and then a wood lathe that only has centers. In the process of going from one machine to the other, I had this back perfectly turned. And then I bored the front out and did the final fitting, but that made this part not proportional out of round. I tried to fight it by scraping the horn, and to be honest, when I first fitted the plug, I didn't realize how bad it was. It was a lot worse. Through some scraping, I actually made it look better than it was. But I realized that I was fighting a losing battle, so one advice I would strongly encourage everyone to do, and I've been saying I was going to do this for the past years, since I've been entering horns, which has been a long time. I mean, I was entering them as a junior, so that's been at least 10 years, is to not wait until the month before the show to finish your horn. Don't be doing stuff. If you're going to enter something at Kempton, set your goal to have it done by mid-May. Like, have that be your goal. That way you don't get under pressure, and if something goes wrong, you have a chance to redo this. Honestly, I probably wish I could have gone back and redid the plug, but I probably fitted the plug was probably the second week in July, so I was running out of time, which that's procrastination, something I struggle with, a lot of people struggle with, and that was a mistake I made. Don't wait until the last minute. You can, again, set that goal of mid-May, and that way if you want to redo something, that gives you a whole month and a half, a month and a half, almost 2 months to get her done. Most years I'm putting my last coat of stain on the plug the week. If I'm, it's drying on driving down to the show. That's happened on more than an occasion, so don't procrastinate. That's just a good piece of advice. But, he then has some really nice, he was pleased with this. Overall, there's a well-executed contemporary horn. There's a traditional historic style, the offset bass, and wandering layers detract slightly for the aesthetic appeal, and the spout plug calls into question how well it would function in a heavy downpour. The finish is nicely done, and the horn is pleasing to the eye. As a whole, well done. I look forward to seeing more of your work. And he even said, this horn is almost there. Keep up the work. And again, it was Clint Byers, and he's appeared on the channel. I think there's an interview on one of the guild events. Really nice guy. All the judges, that's what I love about this community. After the show, I went up, talked to him, and he spent a good couple minutes talking to me, showing me, pointing some stuff out to me. They're all excellent guys, and every year you do one of these, you learn something that you didn't think about before. And these two horns, there's a 2-year gap. I mean, I improved from here to there. I mean, that's a clear improvement for me that I can personally see. Same here. My engraving there is better than that. But with any of these hobbies, it takes time and dedication. I am probably only making 1 or 2 horns a year, which is not enough to master it. So for me personally, I want to get making more horns. I know I'm going back from horns and guns, but you know, the more time you can spend in the shop, and I strongly encourage you to enter your work, because getting that feedback can really improve your ability to get stuff done. So hey, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day, and hope to see some